Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today we have Mark Schuster, head of product here at CYPHER Learning, and Mark is going to go through the platform and explore all of the different ways that you can manage different organizations and either to create unique experiences, centralized administration, any of those things you need to do for a disparate group of users. We will have the Q&A up and running. So if you have any questions, please drop them in the Q&A and either Mark or I will pause at various points to take a look and try to answer those questions for you. We always record these sessions, so you can find them again on our website or on our YouTube channel, and we will also send a follow-up email with them. So with that, I'm going to pass controls over to Mark and let him show you around.
Great. Thanks so much, Caitlin. I'm happy to be here today and take a look at organizations and be able to give you a tour of all of the organizational structure and multi-enterprise options that are available within the CYPHER platform. To start off, when we take a look at the organizations feature that's in the CYPHER platform, there are a couple of ways to think of it. One is that we can work through the organization hierarchy within your large enterprise or business structure and be able to have those various different departments, regions all represented and have the ability to control them, but it also allows us to control external groups. So whether that is a partner group or whether it's groups of customers that you're selling content to, whether it's a dealer type situation, you're able to have all of those different groups separated out and then have the ability to control things as you go through there. So to start off, we're going to just take a quick look at how we can add in organizational capabilities if you don't have that installed on your platform already. So I'm going to go down to the admin menu here and go into the App Center, and I'm going to select organizations. And you can see there's two different options here that I've got installed. First off is organizations, which gives the whole organization structure capability within the platform. And then I've also installed, once that is up and running, organization portals. Organization portals is what lets me have a different visitor portal for each organization. So I've got all of those installed. Obviously, for any of our apps, it's just a matter of clicking on install, and it will automatically be added onto your platform. So since I have that installed already, so I could get everything ready for us for today, I'm going to go over here to organizations in our menu, and you can see it's got basically an organizational chart there to give me an option there. And I'm going to view the list. So this shows the organizations that are already built on my platform today. So you can see I've got my master site here for our CYPHER Live session today. And then I've got different departments for finance, for marketing, for sales. And then I've got a region for East region in there, as well as then an external partner. In this particular case, these are set up to be something like an externally hosted call center. So a different vendor that is providing services for you that you need to provide training to as well. So as we go through this, you can see I've got a different levels that are here. So I can easily move and make things child organizations, non-child organizations by simply moving them around. I can rearrange so that they are in different orders within the platform. Right now, I've got them all built alphabetically, so it's easier for me to follow along, but you can make that look however you would like to. And when we have this parent-child relationship, that then gives us the ability to cascade down a lot of different settings as we go through that. So setting things up at the sales level can allow it to be cascaded down to the East region. So the next thing that we'll take a look at is, again, from this organizations menu, I'm just going to go into the options section here. And there are a couple of different things that we'll look here. First off is partitioning organizations. So if you're really looking to have a variety of different items that are in there, and being able to treat each organization differently. Partitioning is what will allow you to do that. So if I enable partitioning of organizations, you'll see I get a number of different additional options there. So when I partition organizations, each organization can have its own administrators. It can have users and instructors that are only in that organization that they have those settings, as well as independent course catalogs. So that gives us a lot more control on what can be seen. You'll see that you can also have control, again, that cascading where administrators of an organization could administer all of their child organizations. Same thing with managers. And then you've got other options down here for resource sharing between organizations. Since they're restricted to their own catalog, resources are also restricted, but we can then allow those to be shared between organizations as well. So that may be something that you want to do if you have some general resources like PDFs that everyone should have access to, or if you're partitioning organizations within a large enterprise and people still need to have all the resources, you just want to control the course catalogs that they're seeing. The other main option in here is hiding organizations from each other. So by default, organizations can see each other, users can see each other within the other organizations. But if you're in a situation where you're selling content to clients, for example, you may have clients that are competitors and you don't want them to be able to see each other. So you can then go ahead and hide the organizations from each other, and then it treats them as if they're all separate sites within Cypher, and they cannot see users from other organizations. They can't see that the organizations exist. They're completely separated out at that point in order to have a unique experience. I'm going to go ahead and disable the partitioning there. A couple of things that I'll note additionally on here. Missing organizations. You can specify which organization someone gets added to if you don't choose one when you sign up. So that's your default organization that users go into. So that is something you can certainly do as well to have a default setting and a way to get people into the proper area. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and create a new organization here. So we saw on our list, we've got sales, but we only have the East region. So we're going to add in the West region. So I'll add in West region here. I can add in a description. That's an optional field, so I don't need to do that. You can also see an indicator here for internal, which just allows me to quickly track which organizations are internal employees versus external partners. So I'm going to go ahead and add that here. And then I can choose where it gets added in the organization. Again, I could just add it and move those around with the arrows that I showed earlier. But in this case, we're going to have it the last child of the sales organization. And when I do that, I now have a brand new organization that's been created and everything is set up there. So before we move on here, I see a question that came in from Dana of whether everyone has access to the organizations tab. Only administrators will have access to the organizations tab. And if you are using partitioned organizations, only organizations at your or administrators at your top level organization will have that. So an administrator of one of your sub organizations will not have access to the organization tab, but that is available to all administrators, again, as long as that organization app is installed on your platform. So with that, let's take a look then at how we work through the different options of the organization. So you can see this is a brand new organization, so there's not going to be a lot in here, but I'll have a view into the users that are assigned to that organization, courses that are unique to that organization, groups. And in this particular site, I also have e-commerce available. So I can see purchases that have been made by people in this organization. So there's a lot of information that is available. This is a new organization, so there's nothing in there. So let's go to one of our external partner organizations that are already set up, and we'll take a look at the options that are in here. So again, I've got the overview, and then I'm going to go in. I can see the users that are assigned to this group. So I've got Sammy Tom that is available here as a learner within this organization. So for this particular vendor, we have learners already in there. And then let's go over to courses, and we can see that there is one course that is specifically assigned only to this organization, which is team leadership and collaboration. So, a couple of different things that can be done within the course catalog for this are more at a top level area. So, I'm going to go into administration and go into the catalog. And there is an additional option in here that's very important for organizations, and that is the display items for default organization in all catalogs. So if I have a course that is assigned to a particular organization, it's only visible there, but your default organization has the ability to be a master catalog that's visible to all organizations. That's currently turned off on here. So if I were to go in as Sammy on this particular organization, the only course I would see at the moment is the course that's specifically assigned to my organization. If I add this setting on, it will show everything for that organization, plus everything that is at the top level default organization. So that is one way to have that more master catalog that applies across all of your organizations and all of your partnerships. So that gives us a look at that catalog information. The other aspect that we want to look at for this is that course and how we can adjust it. So I'm going to go back here, and we're going to go into this course. And when I am in here, I can go into the course admin settings, into basics, and this is where I'm assigning what organization that course belongs to. So I can edit those settings. Right now it is set at Singletel. I can change that to a different organization that this course belongs to. So that's one way to make these courses available at an individual organization level. The other way that you can handle this is through the visibility settings. So when I go through all of these different options, I can go over to catalog, and we have visibility options. So right now, this course is visible to anyone that has access to it, but we can also move these and create filters. And with that, I can have organizations as one of them. So we'll say, for example, this particular course is only designed for our external partners. So I can then specify that I only want organization in external partners and then the two external partners that I have there. So if I do that, I can then save this. And once I've done that, this visibility setting now applies in the course catalog. So even if this is set at the default organization and available to all of the different organizations, this will allow it to only display in the catalogs that I specify. So that's the way you would handle a broader audience where you want to specify multiple different organizations that you go through there. All right. So with that, I do have a question from Angelo, and that's if with partitioning of organizations, if you have visibility for the top level organization, will it display to the child organizations? And the answer to that right now is no. So that is where you would choose those additional organizations, or you can use some tagging to make those visible. And then Alexis asked if admins in different organizations can enroll learners in a course if visibility has been turned on for those organizations. So we're going to come into that here in just a little bit. That comes into permission settings, and that is something that's configurable. So we'll look at some permission settings here in just a little bit that will allow you to control that. All right, so I'm going to come back over here and we're going to switch and take a look now at the East region. And we're going to look at how we can customize these organizations a little bit. So we're going to start off with the basic section for the settings of an organization. And here's where I can make changes to the name. I can change images. I can change the colors. So, say we have a variety of different brand colors, and I want to specify my sales organizations are using orange instead of the green color. I can make that change, and then the portal for that customer will change there. I can change logos. So again, that is where we would get into a lot of the benefits when you're working with external vendors. So if you are selling your content to multiple companies, you can then have their logo appear when they're in the platform versus your own. So all of those changes are available there. And then the next thing I want to look at is dashboards. So you can see I've got an option here to enable a custom home dashboard for this organization. So when I have this enabled, each organization is able to have a custom administrator dashboard. So that is the first part of this setting. But then we also need to make sure that the administrators of that organization can edit it. And that's where, Alexis, your question earlier regarding the enrollments comes in. That's when we get into permissions. So I'm going to go into admin permissions, and we're going to look at the business level. And you can see here I have all of the different user roles that are enabled on this platform and the individual permission settings that are available there. And when I get down here, I can see I've got the ability to create organizations. That's only at the administrator level. So that's the ability to view that administrator tab that Dana asked about earlier. And then down here, we have a customize the home dashboard. So that is enabled, but that is something that can be customized. So administrators right now can customize the home dashboard, or you can remove that ability. So I want to have that in there so the administrator of the organization can edit that dashboard for their organization. But as we look here, you can see as well, we've got all of these options to control enrollment. All of that can be controlled at the default organization level, as well as then at the sub-organization level. So now we want to look here and we see customizing the home dashboard for a sub-organization administrator is not enabled. So we're going to go in and we're going to edit those settings and enable that option for the organization administrator. So we're going to go ahead and save that. So those permissions now apply. We can scroll down here. We can see those settings are live now. And we're going to go back to our East region, look at our users, and we see that Jeremy Phillips here is an administrator. So I'm going to log in as Jeremy. And we can see the home dashboard is different. This is now a default dashboard because I've enabled a custom dashboard for this organization. We can also see, since we changed that color earlier, all of the accent colors are now orange instead of green. So you have that ability to customize there. I can edit this carousel at the top. Right now, it just has basic information there. And I'm going to add in some carousel information. So I can add in additional text here. I can change my background color. It may not be exactly right, but we're going to put it in the orange spectrum here somewhere. I can find a good orange. I'm ending up brown here, but we'll leave it in that area somewhere here. So as we have those colors, we'll add that in there, and then we can add in pictures. We can remove pictures and then add in buttons there. So I've got all of that available on that slide right now. So we're going to go back and close that out. And we can see that is now our image at the dashboard. I can also go in and add in additional widgets and controls throughout this section. So right now, I've got the report widget that's in here that I could add. I can remove things. So for example, if I don't have groups for this area, I can remove that out of the area. If I don't have gamification enabled, I can move that out, or I can move them back in as necessary. So all of that is then customizable at the individual organization level. So with that, let's go ahead and log out as Jeremy, and I'm going to go back as myself. Right. And while we're on that break there, I do have an additional question about whether we're able to adjust category settings and visibility within the catalog or only by the individual course. So again, when we're looking through this, we have that at the course level, but I can also go in to the category level, and we have a variety of different categories there. I've got these communications for leaders, for example. So the same thing can be done at that category level rather than the individual course level. I can click here and I can add a visibility filter. I already have the visibility filter that I created earlier, so I can simply save that, select it, and now that particular course is only visible if it matches that particular filter. So, in answer to your question, yes, you absolutely can take care of that and do that way. And then Amanda asked if removing a picture from the carousel, if that is removed, is it still available in resources for later? So for the carousels, that's not working out of the resources section. So it is not one that is automatically there. But for anything else in the platform, if you remove it, it does stay in resources. All right. So the next thing that I want to take a look at is a more of an extended enterprise type of approach where we're looking to sell content to other clients. So we're going to go back and we're going to return to Singletel that we looked at earlier. And there are a number of things that we can address in here. One is having the purchases. So we've talked about for e-commerce, we can track that there. But we also have controls here at the e-commerce section where I can control site currency. So right now, this particular site uses the US dollar. If I have a client that is in Europe, I can then go in and change for that particular organization that they use the euro to be able to process all of their transactions in. Depending on setups, you'll also be able to customize some of the payment gateway information here and have separate payment gateways and control all of those different features for e-commerce through there. But once we have that taken care of, the next part of this, when you're trying to sell that content, is having a portal. So right now, this organization doesn't have a custom portal. I could add one in here, But what I'm going to do is go into the higher level organization, external partners. And for this particular one, I have a portal that's ready to go already. So the portal is enabled and I can see it has its own custom URL. So if I click on this, you can see that it has a separate initial login page where I'm able to brand everything either for an individual organization or set of organizations and give them a variety of different options. So we're going to come back here. Right now, this is set as a full portal. I could also do a simple portal, which only allows you to just log in. But for this situation where we're attempting to sell content, we're going to want a broader portal so we can show our catalog and other information to market the courses to others. You can see I've got a variety of different pages that are available here. By default, we have a selection of pages. We can add additional pages either with just HTML or send them out to another website link. So if you have a marketing site that you want to add to the portal, you certainly can do that by adding in this URL. Each of these can be enabled, disabled, can be removed if they're not a default one. In my case, everything that this particular situation sells is going to be self-paced training. So I don't need to have a calendar. So I'm going to remove the calendar from the portal there. Now you can also see down here, I have the ability to control what's in the menu. And within that, I can indent things underneath each other. I can also move them around, and that will impact what is on the portal externally. But for most people, it's much easier to see this visually. So we have a visual editor that will allow you to adjust everything for the portal for that particular customer. So I'm going to make some adjustments here to this portal as we go through it. So we've got that image that's there right now, and I want to have something that is a little bit different view that shows more of a partnership since we had a lot of teammate information on the content there. So I'm going to go into this carousel and I'm going to adjust that. So we select that. We've got the external partner slide here. I can again hide, delete things, or I can click on it and I can make changes to this. So here's where we have that change picture. Here's where I can upload a local, or I can use my resources to be able to select images. So I'm going to upload a new image here. So I'm going to pull this over and upload that. And now you can see that it has switched the imagery on there. I can see that in real time and adjust all of that. I can go down here and edit other aspects of the content as well. So if I go back, I can see I've got this image blocks panel. I could add additional panels from a variety of different options to create a completely customized landing page for that particular user. And then I can see I've got my catalog link up here, which if I go into will give a public catalog that shows all of the different courses that are available there. I can adjust everything on that header as well and add custom HTML. So we're going to exit out of here, go back to our administrative interface so we can see all of those different panels that are there. And then one of the big things here, as we said, we're at the external partners level. So if I want to use this portal then for everyone below that, so each of our different external partners, I just simply choose to apply these settings to all sub-organizations of this organization, and that portal becomes the portal for everything below it in the hierarchy. Now, if I do that, we looked earlier at the single tel, which is a child organization of external partners. And we saw that it did not have a custom portal and asked me if I wanted to create one. Now I see the portal for this organization is controlled by a parent organization. So that allows you to cascade all of that down there and go to each of those child organizations that are present. All right. So with that, that is the a high level overview of the different organization settings and all of the different options that are available to create a controlled environment for each of your different organizational settings. What other questions can I answer for everyone?
We do have one question about whether this is going to be recorded. And as I mentioned up front, we do record all of our sessions and post them to our CYPHER Learning website. If you go to CYPHER Learning and click on the resources at the top of the menu bar, you will see various options, but you'll see options for CYPHER Live and CYPHER Pro Tips. CYPHER Live tends to be product focused. CYPHER Pro Tips is more sort of approaches and philosophies, kind of that kind of thing. We also have a YouTube channel, Cypher Learning, where you can find the playlist of all of our Cypher Live episodes. Right. Any other questions that we can answer? If not, we will wrap it up at a tidy 30 minutes. Thank you, Mark. Do keep your eyes peeled for this recording and future invitations. Okay, I've had a request to drop the link in the chat, so let me just do that really quickly before I close out for those of you that want it. And thank you so much, everybody. And we will, keep your eyes peeled for future sessions. We have lots, thanks to the time that Mark and Graham and Alexia all put into our programs every week. We host 2 a month of Cypher Lives. So I'm just going to, you can keep coming back and we will have more. If there's any particular topics that you're interested in, also let us know. Just respond to one of those emails and I will get it.